Hello, and welcome to another edition of 360 Half Seconds. My name is Kia. I'm with 360 Vet Sales, and with me today is 360 Vet Sales CEO Matt Arena. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good to be back.
Good to have you back. For those of you who watch this regularly, you'll know that this is the first time we have Matt back in about 5 or 6 months to do one of these, um, and it's for a good reason this time, Matt. On today's episode, I want to actually revisit the very first topic that we ever did.
Oh, cool.
And before I refresh your memory with what that is, I'm just going to explain to everybody quickly how this works. Today, I'm going to give him a scenario and I'm going to ask him a question. And he's going to have 360 half seconds or 3 minutes to answer my question. So, Matt, you ready to do this?
I'm ready.
Okay, so you're going to remember this one. So, client comes in and they say, I feel like I'm ready to sell my practice, but my friend sold their practice a couple years ago. I know the market isn't the same as it was a couple years ago, and I want to wait until the market gets back to that point and sell my practice so I can do as well as, my friend or colleague did.
Yep. Okay.
Can you talk to me about whether or not that's a sound strategy?
Yeah, no, this is a really relevant topic. We hear this a lot. And interestingly enough, what I like about this one is we have a history here. So if someone were to go back in time and look at our historical videos from a couple years ago, they'll see that we already answered this and that my answer today is not going to be any different. And you'll also see proof of concept. What I said back then has now proven to be true. And so I'll kind of go in and revisit that again. So what we had years ago, as we backtrack this industry to 2020, for example, is you had kind of a bubble in the market. And with that bubble in the market, just like we've seen in other industries, tech industry, medical device industry, et cetera, you see multiples climb to a peak and then they slowly decline as that market kind of normalizes. And when it normalizes over time, it settles in kind of slightly right at or slightly above where it was before the bubble started. And so we had said this before, but you do have people that are looking at that going, my friend told me they got 16 to 19x, and it's like, yeah, that probably is very true. I remember selling practices for 16 to 19x, but we were in a bubble, and we've always been very consistent in our messaging and very honest as best as we can. Obviously, we don't have a crystal ball to say to people, the market is going to slowly adjust down. So if multiples are 14, they're going to drop to 13 probably in the next 12 to 18 months. And then they're going to drop down to 12. And we don't really know exactly where the soft landing spot is, but there's a lot of people that think it might be 9, it might be 10x. It just, we'll have to see where that is, but there's going to be that landing space. The the proof is that's exactly what's happened. We've seen a half a turn or a 1x turn of multiple going down every 1 to 1.5 to 2 years. I mean, the timing's a little spacious, but um, that's exactly what's been happening. The good news is today, where we sit, the multiples have not hit the bottom yet. They are still in a fairly good spot. On certain deals, we're seeing anywhere from 11, 12. You could even see for the really perfect practice, you could see 13x in a really strong environment. Um, those are very few and far between. I want to make sure that I emphasize that. But we are still seeing some strong multiples. Someone who says, well, geez, it's 11x. I really was hoping for 16. It's most likely not going to happen again. The bubble happened. That's too far gone. And the other thing that I would say to that person is we're still talking about an 11 times multiple. And in any other industry, you'd be lucky or you'd be talking about 5, 6x in a small mid-sized company industry. So at 11x, it's still a very healthy multiple, one that people should be really excited about and pleased with.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point that you make kind of right there at the end there is that when you look at the veterinary industry versus every other industry, it's still, even with multiples declining since 2021, it's still far better than most industries in terms of what your financial return is going to be
Yeah.
on a practice sale. Is that fair to
Yes.
say?
Yes. And
Okay.
yeah, and there's one other comment I want to say to people because this gets lost a lot, but I think it's really, really important. Everybody uses this word multiple, and you're still
Yep.
going to hear people talking about it and going, I just sold last year. I don't know what Matt's talking about. I got 14x. 14x is only one half of the variable. The other variable is what was your true adjusted EBITDA? And you want to make sure that you really know what your adjusted EBITDA is, have a nice, proper, independent valuation done, professional valuation, whatever you want to call it, by someone who really knows what they're doing. So you know this is my real adjusted EBITDA. Because it would be very easy for someone in my position. I would never do this, but it would be so easy to say, oh, I'm going to discount the adjusted EBITDA by 20% and tell them that they got a 14x multiple. I don't know the point of that. The reality of it is, when we're giving you these numbers, these are real numbers. This is really where the market is. This is where the rubber meets the road.
And so, just to clarify a few things for the people watching this,
Yeah.
one, the multiple itself is a multiple of EBITDA, or in the case that you're talking about, it's adjusted EBITDA.
Adjusted
And
EBITDA.
an adjusted EBITDA is taking all the financials, taking all the numbers, and then going through it, scrubbing the accounting, figuring out, where there's hidden value within the practice, where there are potential,
One-time
you know,
expenses, personal add backs, things of that nature. Anything that kind of normalizes the EBITDA for the concept of what a buyer would be looking at, in a sense.
Okay, so it really is important that if you're going to do a valuation, go to somebody who has a financial background that
Yes.
can, go through this and get you to the right adjusted EBITDA. Then you slap the multiple onto that.
Yes.
That's when you really trying to understand. Because I think what you're getting at when you say, well, somebody might say you're getting a 14x multiple when it might be because they haven't done an adjusted EBITDA,
That's correct. That's correct.
right?
Yeah, they
And
haven't done an
so
adjusted EBITDA. Maybe they didn't have the wherewithal or know how to do one-offs and add backs and the different tools and things and strategies. And not wrong or indifferent, but the reality of it is when you're in that world and you think you got a 14x, you probably left money on the table. That's the reality.
when we talk about the industry in general and where it's going, we could talk about multiples all day long, but what we're really talking about is valuations were at their peak
Yeah.
at during the height of the bubble. And as the
Correct.
bubble has dissipated, valuations in general have come down.
Correct.
And how you get to that valuation is a function of getting to the right correct adjusted EBITDA and slapping a multiple on it, the
Market rate
current
multiple. Yep.
market
Correct.
rate multiple. Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to drive the point home. Don't wait for it to go to 16 or 19x. I don't believe that's happening. I mean, yeah, you might be looking at maybe in 10 or 15 years, but I mean, I
Well,
wouldn't wait 10 or 15 years.
and the reason I wouldn't even wait 10 or 15 years and I would never count on it coming back is because I think if you understand the reason why the bubble happened and what led to the bubble and where it's come since then, you don't see the pathway for it
No.
to get back to that, right?
The private equity excitement, which is really all is driven by private equity money, in an industry, they usually come in, they stay for a little while, and then they move to another industry. It'd be unlikely to see them come back and get re-excited about this industry in the same way.
Right. Meaning that there's still going to be excitement within the industry, but it's not going to be at the levels of like everybody's jumping
Yeah,
in.
no.
This bubble really came to be in the veterinary industry primarily due to COVID. And
Yeah.
correct, where private equity was looking for a place to put money, and they saw that the veterinary industry, compared to other industries, was actually making a lot of money
It was in a
still,
sense
even
COVID proof.
during,
Yeah.
yeah, it's COVID proof, it's recession proof,
Growth
right?
rates.
Yeah. And so, but the thing is, it's no longer a secret, right? So even if there, God forbid, is another COVID or pandemic or anything like that, it's not as if people don't already know about this industry and aren't already here. So
Yeah.
that's why you're not going to see another bubble, so to
Yep.
speak. And so, could you potentially see like a half tick up on multiples? Potentially. But you're
Right.
not gonna, but that's not anything that you should hold out for because it's way more likely you're gonna see a half tick down, a full notch down, and then as we go further on down, down time, it's gonna go even further down than that.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, it's always good to revisit this one. This is
Yeah.
the
This is
one
great.
topic that I can say that from day one, this still comes up all the time.
Yep.
And so I'm glad we were able to touch base on it again. And if you want to see if Matt is telling you the truth, I would highly recommend that you go back and we've talked about, we've given market updates. we've talked about this topic before in the past. And, a couple of years ago, Matt said, we're going to see these start to slowly trickle down, basically like a half notch, maybe every 6 months, every year. And it's been on point. That's exactly what we're seeing. Again, there's good news here. The good news is that this industry is still above and beyond all other industries when it comes to, valuations of businesses. And so if it is something that you're considering, the best time to do it is now.
Yeah. Can't say it enough.
Yeah. And Matt, if somebody wanted to do a valuation so that they could get to an adjusted EBITDA, how can they reach out to you or to us and to get that process started?
Yeah, we've got multiple ways. I mean, you could reach out to us. We have a submission form on our website, so you can just get the contact us button on our website. You can email Kia at 360vetsales.com. Email myself, Matthew, Mattthew at 360vetsales.com. And yeah, just reach out. We're happy to help, and we gather a few pieces of information so we could do the formal valuation, and then schedule a meeting within a week and a half to 2 weeks with the valuation prepared, and we can walk through it.
Yeah, and just a reminder to everybody, we do it as a courtesy. We don't believe that you should be in a position to make decisions about your business without having all the information in front of you. So we do the valuation as a courtesy. So yeah, just reach out to one of us, or fill out the form on our website. We'll get some information from you, and we'll get that thing done for you, and then you'll have all the information that you need to decide whether now is the right time for you to go explore the market. And one last thing I'll just say about the valuation is. Um, through that process, we glean a lot of information about your practice and about your financials. And, there are plenty of times where we're going to come back to you and say, hey, listen, you know, um, if you fix just a few things, your valuation can go up hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. So it's worth doing that if a sale is at all on your radar anytime within the next year to year and a half.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. So Matt, thanks so much. It's good to have you back. And until next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Kia.